And welcome into our live NFL trade deadline coverage here on the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here, producer Chris, once again, behind the scenes for today's show. Should be a fun one. We have the pin poll up right now. You can vote on it. Will the Dallas Cowboys make a trade? 1 for yes, 0 for no. I am leaning towards no. I'd say as of now with 2 hours to go, well, under 2 hours, you can see our live timer right there. I don't know, 5% chance? There's a chance. Some names that are out there, but I would not get my hopes up from that perspective. We'll see. We'll break down the rumors, the trades that have happened, the targets, etc., all throughout today's live show, plus do a giveaway as well. We have our first super chat of the day from Richard Lee. Says the Vikings should trade for Trey Lance. First off, thank you, Richard. Let's break down the trade that just happened because it probably means the Vikings will not be going after Trey Lance. Minnesota just went after a quarterback. They have traded moments ago for Joshua Dobbs, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals and the Browns this year too. They're getting back a conditional 7th-round pick that could become a 6th into the future, and a 6th-round pick going back to Arizona. So it's the 6th, 7th pick swap for a player that wasn't really in the Cardinals' plans anymore. It was going to be Clayton Tune or Kyler Murray this week, and Murray moving forward. Frankly, Dobbs, the past 4 games, actually not played that well. He's under 56% completion rate with more total turnovers and total touchdowns. He hasn't been that good. Dobbs/Jaron Hall going to be the guys in Minnesota with Trey Lance now out. Another super chat. Then we'll break down our super chat menu. Giveaways included today. Al-Shaair, we need offensive line help. Also, 4883 should be our plan. I'm not sure what the 4883 refers to. Well, what am I missing here? I'm sure I'm missing something stupid. I would love offensive line help. And Jerry said that too. The problem is everybody wants offensive line help. It's just not that easy to find. There's not that many guys available. So I would love O-line help. I just don't know if you're going to be able to find it in the end. All right, super chat menu. Every super chat, of course, equals a shout out. $5. We're doing a little mini duck race. It's an event. We'll do a giveaway. I'll send you the play sheet. I wrote 110 from last week. I have no idea if I can get that off. I'll send you the Mike McCarthy play sheet from our Halloween watch party, and I will give you the Cowboys playbook too. Don't snitch on me. I don't think I'll get in trouble for that one because I got it from a source that's good. So I will send you the Cowboys playbook. I'll zip file that to you on Dropbox. So every $5 entered to win the giveaway. It's the laminated play sheet with the actual play calls on there, and then I'll also give you the Cowboys book. It was the Kellen playbook, so it's a little bit different from 2017, the right before he took over, but it's the same terminology that they still use today, so I think it's close enough. That's every $5 super chat gets you entered into the duck race. If there's under 100, we'll make it the Halloween race. Over 100, actually don't have enough, so we'll do that. So every $5 gets you in. So Richard, Al-Shaair, Chris B, throw in 3 more, and we'll combine them for the 5 there. $20 is a shot. You can get me hammered on Halloween before I take Olivia trick-or-treating tonight. Could be fun. $50 for the beer bong, and we will include the beer helmet of honor deal. $100 on that front. All right, Chris B, what a boring trade deadline overall, at least so far. Yeah, it's been rough. We'll break down the trades. The big one was Montez Sweat. That one did go down. That was at least a sizable, noteworthy deal at this stage of, Montez Sweat gets dealt to the Bears for a second. That I thought was pretty interesting and curious from that perspective. It's unusual. It's unusual there. Sweat goes for a second. Bears are going to sell Jaylon Johnson. We'll talk about him in today's show. Seems like he might be available, TBD on that front. At least they're listening. They let him see you got a trade partner. Gangsta Big Chungus, let's sign the best cornerback to ever live, Uncle Rico. First off, that's Ben DiNucci. Please, no slander of the Nooch or Uncle Rico. But yes, that's funny. I I appreciate that one. Thank you, Gangsta Big Chungus. Rashard Lee, favorite Halloween candy. I want you guys to answer this one as well. Favorite Halloween candy. I'm a sucker for Reese's or anything sugary, that's like gummies and stuff. Olivia is 2. She does not get candy. So whatever candy she gets, I get this year. This is going to be Dad's candy, which is probably not the best thing for me, but that's okay in the end. So sound off. We'll come back to this weigh-in, this exact one later on, actually, of favorite Halloween candy later on in today's show. It's a good one. It's Halloween after all. Olivia is going as a pumpkin. Her request, I am either a ghost or a witch. It's changed every time I ask her, which I also don't have either of those things. Yeah, it's fine. We'll make it work there. More Cowboys news, NFL trade news, rumors, etc., all to come here. Today's show made possible by Prize Picks. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. They are the largest independently owned DFS platform in North America. You can do NFL and college football games, just NFL picks. You can do NFL, NBA, and for a few more games here, you can at least do MLB in there as well. 2 or more picks, and you're just picking more than or less than. You're not battling thousands of other players and pros and sharks. It's just you against the numbers. Can you win? I'm on a heater with the flex play, and I love my flex play. I might do a flex play and a power play this week, which is kind of reckless, but I'm going to go for it. At least I'll think about it. I did lock in the flex play already. Joe Burrow, more than passing yards, 265.5 against for the Bengals against the Bills. Bad secondary, love it. Isaiah Pacheco, bad Dolphins run defense, more than yards on the ground. CeeDee Lamb, more than receiving yards against an Eagles shaky secondary. Love the more thans there. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. Again, that's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Appreciate Prize Picks sponsoring us here at the Cowboys Report. We have our first $5 super chat, our first entry into the Mike McCarthy play sheet, and I will give you the Cowboys playbook as well, at least the 2017 Kellen Moore version. Luis D. Garza, you're the most religious channel out there, so with that being said, will the Cowboys make a trade? I don't think so. What I could see happening is a trade involving a 7th round pick or something. I would love Jaylon Johnson. I don't think Dallas is going to go after him. If they can find a corner or a linebacker to go for a 7th or a 6th, 7th pick swap has been so popular this year, then I could see it. But the Cowboys are light on draft capital. They want to win the deal. I'm not going to have my hopes up there. Mighty Ants also into the raffle for today's show. Leonard Williams was traded to Seattle for a 2nd round pick. Yes, he was. That and more than that, actually, if we want to go to those, if we have those trade details, producer Chris. That one went down yesterday, continuing the trend of one trade back-to-back years on the Monday before the trade deadline. Yeah, Leonard Williams from the Giants shipped out to Seattle for a 2nd and a 5th next year. So a pretty premium asset given up by the Giants to go to Seattle, or the Giants getting a premium asset back for Leonard Williams. They also ate almost all of the contract, everything that they could, which you could do yesterday. If you did not restructure a player's deal by yesterday, you can't do it today. So that actually takes off those bigger deals. Garrett Bowles, we've talked about him a lot, $14 million. So you don't have actually the salary cap space right now to absorb him, so you have to do something else. Denver can't eat it anymore. So that's kind of complicated there, but they did trade for Leonard Williams, a 2nd and a 5. Quite a bit to give up there. Chris B., if Johnson goes to Philly, I swear, please no. This is a 3 for Chris on top of his 2. So you are into the Halloween Mike McCarthy play sheet. And again, the winner, end of the deadline, we'll do the duck race or Halloween race. I'll hook you up with the Cowboys' older playbook, which got the 2017 Kellen Moore version. Terminology all stay the same. So I will be very upset if Jaylon Johnson goes to Philly or San Francisco. He's a really good player. I would be concerned if he went to one of those teams. If he's going to get traded, make it Buffalo. You still got to play him, but you might have to play him twice because you might or may not face him in the Super Bowl, which is a long way off. So, all right, let's hit the trades that have happened so far. Then we'll break down some Cowboy-centric stuff. We did mention the Leonard Williams deal. That one went down yesterday. A second and a fifth going back to the Giants. They are sellers. They're probably not going to trade Saquon. Maybe Adoree Jackson draws some interest. The money's a bit expensive there. But Leonard Williams was in the final year of his deal. Giants get an extra second. I love that deal for the Giants. Okay with it for Seattle. There was the Philly deal, the Kevin Byard trade. A fifth, a sixth, and a backup, not that good safety in Terrell Edmunds. Go figure, right? Classic Howie Roseman. He's good at what he does. They should stop being allowed to trade with the Titans. The Eagles also made a trade earlier this morning. It was this morning, right? This morning or was it yesterday? Either way. Eagles get a 6th-round pick, and it's the 6th, 7th pick swap, you know? Contavious Street goes to Atlanta for a 7th. Eagles have some guys coming off of injury, so they kind of need to clear up the roster spots. And then they do the pick swap for a backup, defensive lineman. The Falcons lost Grady Jarrett. I think it makes sense. All right, Montez Sweat to the Bears, which in theory the Bears are not done. You know, as we'll get into more in depth, Jaylon Johnson has requested a trade out of Chicago, and the Bears are allowing him to search for that trade. And if that happens, in theory, a 2nd-round pick goes back, so it'd be Montez Sweat for Jaylon Johnson, which Bears got the worst player. Commanders, they're selling. Some whispers, by the way, they will still listen to deals for Chase Young, by the way. Then the most recent trade. It's been a very slow deadline so far with an hour 45 to go. I think we get at least 2 more deals, though. Joshua Dobbs, a conditional 7th to Minnesota. The Cardinals, a 2024 6th-round pick. Now, that 7th apparently could become a 6th in 2025, which is probably based on like playing time and incentives and stuff, but that's the status on that front. So all the trades there. Some more supers we'll get to through the Super Chat menu, but I do want to mention the Jaylon Johnson situation. That is the Chicago Bears' very good, very talented corner. He requested a trade very late last night, and also was granted the permission to search through that trade. That they are allowing him to look for a trade partner. The 2 sides had been working on an extension because he's a good young corner and you typically want to pay your young assets, right? The Bears are like, no, why would we do that? We're not going to trade Roquan. We're going to spend big money on other linebackers. We're not going to pay Jaylon Johnson. So he is, I think, the biggest gettable name on the market. He's an awesome young corner. He's very talented, which is very impactful for the Chicago Bears. I think at least a 2nd-round pick is what you would anticipate getting out of Jaylon Johnson in the event he ends up going away from Chicago. There are several teams that have been linked to Jaylon Johnson so far this season that have been high-end teams, the contenders, if you will. They've been involved with the Eagles have been linked, the Steelers have been linked, the Bills, the Niners, and at least briefly the Cowboys. Although there are reports from other reporters out there that say the Cowboys are not interested, or at the cost at least, I should say, in going after Jaylon Johnson at this stage. The price tag is a little bit too high. Look, he's been a really good football player for the Chicago Bears. He's been impactful. I would have interest in him. I think worst case is you would give up a 2 to get him. I don't think Dallas wants to pay him, which might be an issue for the Johnson camp, by the way. But you'd let him leave in free agency and get a 3rd-round pick. Is a 2nd and a 3rd worth it for 10 games of Jaylon Johnson? I actually don't hate it, but I'm unconvinced the Cowboys would have that type of interest in the end. So should the Cowboys make a trade? Y for yes, N for no. We have another trade we'll get to here, by the way, in a matter of moments, so stay tuned on that one. But should the Cowboys make a trade? Y for yes, N for no. Please vote in the comment section. Should, not will, should they make a trade? Let's hit this, and then I'm going to go to the socials on the reports around Jaylon Johnson. Another trade involving the Vikings. It's Ezra Cleveland. He's on the move to Jacksonville. All we know at this stage is that it is a day 3 pick. I'm now seeing from Josina Anderson, it is a 6th. A 6th round pick for Ezra Cleveland. A 6th round pick. For the first time, all deadline outside the Kevin Byard one, maybe, I'm like, I'd have done that. That's it. Really? That's it? That's all it costs for Ezra Cleveland? I jokingly tweeted out, who says no? Cleveland for Trey Lance. Apparently the Vikings said no and they got less. I am frustrated by that one. That is a deal I would have done in a heartbeat. I love that deal for Jacksonville. Jacksonville's at the point where they view themselves as contenders. I think they should go get an edge rusher. They've been trying, Walker Little at guard with Cam Robinson, Anton Harrison. They're kind of banged up a little bit there. Love that deal for Jacksonville. That's a low-end starting caliber guard, at least a good backup for a 6th. Man. Why'd they trade for Joshua Dobbs then? What is Minnesota doing? That's a... Jealous of that one. All right, back to Jaylon Johnson. Josina Anderson also reported this earlier today, that her understanding is that the price, quote-unquote, for Bears cornerback Jaylon Johnson is wrong for the Cowboys at this point. Now, what I don't know, and it's one of the things I don't like about Josina, what is the price? That means 2 things. Is it the contract price or the trade price? Maybe it's both in this case. The Cowboys don't want to go up a 2nd or 3rd rounder. That's not what they want to do at this point. Is it the contract price? That might be a factor too, because Jaylon Johnson is looking for a new deal. I think he wants to be paid now, or at least in the offseason like Roquan Smith was. That might not happen with the Cowboys. I don't think it would happen, frankly. So not sure what the price means, but that is where we are at. Ecuador man AOG, a 7th for Latavius Murray from Buffalo. Hot take, I would rather bring back Zeke. You guys know how I feel about Zeke. But Latavius Murray is averaging like 3.6 yards per carry. I would rather trade the 7th for Zeke, who we'll talk about, by the way. I would also just give more reps to Rico Dowdle or Hunter Lipke, because those guys are cheap and don't cost me anything, and they're already on my team. But I don't have much interest in Murray. I think he's kind of washed at this point. Chris B, annoying NFC, wide open, go for it, but they won't. Yeah. They were more aggressive in the past offseason, and I promise you they will say, we made our deadline deals with Gilmore and Cooks. That's what they're going to say. That's how they operate, which is dumb. Because they didn't do anything in the offseason. Good teams are aggressive. F them late round picks. Let's try some stuff here. $10 from Scott. A great time to recap our super chat menu here. Says he likes Johnson, but would rather pass or get them more from the Colts. So these are true tackle corner, help with those stretch run plays. So that's Kenny Moore, the Colts nickel corner. It's a good name. A little bit more expensive contract-wise short term. At this stage, which makes me wonder if they'd be okay doing that from the Cowboys' perspective. But I do like Kenny Moore. I think that's a great option there as things sit for the Cowboys. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I'd be very excited if a Kenny Moore should happen. Let's do it that way. Would I be excited or just lukewarm? That's how we'll answer all the trade stuff, since we've got hour 38 to go and no trade quite yet. Our super chat menu today. Any super is a shout out. We'll show you guys some love. $5. You are entered into our duck race. That is, I will send you the Halloween Mike McCarthy play sheet, which has the real ones on the back plus 110. because I wrote that down for the raffle on Sunday, and I did it in Sharpie, and I can't get it off. And in addition to this little thing, I'll also send you the entire 2017 Dallas Cowboys offensive playbook. So I do have that still. So I'll get you hooked up with that if you win the duck race. Every $5 gets you there. Scott, I saw you threw in 10. You do 10 more, I'll do a shot for 20, or I'll just give you the 2 duck race entries. I'm not sure which one you wanted, so we'll keep it that way. That way you don't have to send in 2 and say to specify. Just as is, 2 entries, otherwise a shot for another 10. $50 is a beer bong, and $100, which we'll do for events and game days only. You go on the Cowboys beer helmet of honor, and I'll chug 2 beers out of it. Make it a slightly tipsy Halloween this year. $2 now from Ernest Huntley. Thank you, Ernest. I appreciate that. Object Pawar. Is Jerry not making a trade because of Dak's contract? I don't think that's anything to do with it. They have money if they want to. I think that they're trying to maintain some future flexibility, not just for Dak, but for Micah, CeeDee Lamb, etc., because they're too worried about the 3 years down the line numbers than the current year numbers. I think the biggest reason why they're not doing it is they have very limited draft capital right now. They have a first, a second, a third, and 2 sevenths available right now. Now, they'll get, in theory, 2 comp picks, a 5th and a 6th, or 2 sixths maybe, for this upcoming draft, but they don't have that right now because the formula is not over yet, so they can't trade it away at this stage. So I think the lack of draft capital is the biggest issue at this point. From Sir Smokes a Lot, Sam Williams, 2024 third, 2025 fifth for fourth for Chase Young. I don't think the trade value is actually that far off. Might be a little bit expensive for Chase Young. I also don't know if I don't know if the Commanders would ever trade Chase Young to you. Because it's an NFC trade, you know? It's not a bad offer. In fact, it's actually a pretty quality one from the Commanders' viewpoint. So I appreciate that and not the, Jordan Lewis and a 7th for Chase Young or whatever. I do think the issue is Commanders still might not trade Chase Young, and I wonder if Sam Williams is working his way back onto the right side of this Cowboys coaching staff. He was really good against the Rams on special teams. He had a punt block, and he had a gunner play. He was out there, the gunners on the outside are reserved for receivers or corners. Sam Williams out there playing gunner and doing great stuff, which, I wonder, if you can just get your speedy edge out there, isn't that kind of a hack? You have to shed blocks, right? You do it at gunner. So I wonder if they're kind of working his way back, his way back up the chain, so to speak. Ecuador man says, Zeke, really? They're in my mouth. Teams allegedly are calling the Patriots. We'll see if he gets moved or not. Hour and a half and change to go. Anthony Foster, $5 into our duck race. The play sheet I will give away with some of the real plays on the back, and I will send you the Cowboys playbook, the older one as well. What side of the ball do you help at the most? I think the help would come on offense. If you could get another offensive line piece. We'll go through the trades here. I would have done the deal for Ezra Cleveland. He had a foot injury, I know, but 6th round pick. You don't have one, I get it, but trade a future 5. Come on, you can do that. That's not that hard. I think offense needs the most help, but I would also trust my defense and Dan Quinn to maximize that piece a little bit more. $10 from Rude Kermit says 2 duck entries. You got it, Rude. We got you covered. Also, very fitting for Halloween. Rude Kermit. It's a fun Halloween costume. Thank you. A third-time super chat, I should say, from Dallas. Trade Schoonmaker for Darren Waller. I think that's too much. I don't think that's the standpoint. Darren Waller went for a late third. In last year's draft. He's hurt again, by the way. I think Ferguson's better. By the way, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott have not missed on a connection since the Cardinals game. They're 15 of 15. Kind of impressive. And Schoonmaker, with what you invested on, you're going to need to give him some more time. All right, our goal today is 170K subscribers. If we get there, I'll do a beer bong. because I'm a little bit thirsty today. So if we get there the next hour and a half, I will do a beer bong as on today's live show. This is the live sub number. You will see it updated in real time as the subs grow. It's tied right in to the YouTube analytics. So keep subbing. We have more free Cowboys videos for you guys here every single day as well. We'll be back live again on Thursday as well. We normally would do a Monday live show. We're going to bump it back for today. We'll do a mailbag at the end of today's show still. And then we'll be live on Thursday and Sunday, of course, for the Cowboys-Eagles game. Michael Hogan, $5 into our raffle entry. Maybe we move players for picks instead. If so, who do you think we should move? There was a report that teams had called Dallas about shopping some of their defensive pieces. Maybe a Neville Gallimore could fetch you something. But beyond that, maybe one of your back-end safeties could fetch you something. I doubt they're going to trade away a rookie at this stage. So maybe Chauncey Golston could get you something back. I think you'd only be getting a late day 3 pick. And I think Dallas might prefer the depth. Because the worst case is let's say you trade away Chauncey Golston or Neville Gallimore, right? Okay, fine. And we have other depth pieces. Then you lose a DT due to injury. And now you're like, shoot. We had 6, and now we have 4. And now we're worried about our depth. So if a great offer comes through, I think that they could absolutely make a trade away of a piece. I don't know if that offer is going to be enough for them. But it's a good thought, Michael. It's a very, very good thought. Also a good thought is using Game Time. Who here's had a just difficult, annoying experience buying tickets to a sporting event, concert, theater, comedy show like producer Chris does, whatever? I'm sure everybody has. That's why we love Game Time, though. They take the guesswork out of buying tickets. You should not have to worry when you're buying tickets to whatever your next big event is. Game Time has last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, zone deals. It's very, very easy to find and buy tickets. 2 taps and you are set. That is it. They have deals right up to the start of the event, even an hour after it starts. It is the place to find last tickets. My favorite part, by the way, of Game Time are their zone deals. On average, you save 18%. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats. Does it matter if you're in seat 7 or seat 17? I don't think so. I'm a big fan of Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the app, create your account, and use code CowboysChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create your account and redeem code COWBOYSCHAT for $20 off. That's promo code CowboysChat. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, the lowest price, all guaranteed. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. We'll get to more supers here momentarily, but first, name a player who you want the Cowboys to trade for. Hour and a half to go. I'll sip some water here. Who do you want to trade for? Keep it somewhat realistic. Rodgers, well, he's not healthy, so no. I don't think Derrick Henry's getting dealt today either. I think their cost was too high. DeForest Buckner would be a fun addition. Although, Osa's played really well for you, by the way. Buckner's money is also a real problem this year. He's making a lot base salary. Chase Young. Deonta Foreman is a feasible name. There you go. Joshua says Tom Downey for corner. Yeah, I played flag football last night, and I pulled my hamstring 3 plays into playing corner. It was in the second game, but still. So you don't want me out there. Frankie Luvo's a fun name. Davante Adams, yeah, it's fine. You're not getting Marshawn Lattimore. Fun name, though. Jimmy Johnson. Cortland Sutton, Samaje Perine, Jerry Jeudy, Mike White. Now, wait a minute. You're not getting DJ Moore. You're not getting DJ Reed. Garrett Bowles might have made more sense if the money was right. Josh Jacobs. I don't think the Raiders are going to sell. Wouldn't that be fun? Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz, and Michael Gallup for 69 pieces of candy corn. That's the one to end on. Keep the comments coming. Chris B, another $5 entry into our duck race. I bet at about 4:15 at the annual post-deadline, we were close to a deal for whoever. We just couldn't close it, just like last year with Cooks. Yeah, this year they've said they're not close, though. Normally we get some type of buzz of like, oh, they're trying. My issue last year, by the way, was that the Cowboys said they were close on getting Brandon Cooks, and they had agreed to the trade cost. But they had not agreed to the amount that Houston was going to eat, because they wanted Houston to eat some of the contract, which means you are not close to a trade. That's like when they say, oh, we had the math, we had the per year aligned. We didn't have the years, though. No, you're not. If the years don't match, you're not aligned on the money. If the trade comp is aligned, but the money being eaten is not, you're not aligned on that. So I hated that was their narrative last year. This year, I think the narrative might be, we like our guys, which I know is very, very frustrating. All right, Michael Miller, $10 into our little play sheet duck race entries, plus I'll send you the actual Cowboys playbook from a couple years ago. He's got 2 entries now. Dream trade targets, Hunter and Johnson make this defense elite. Wouldn't get your hopes up there. I don't think, with Montez Sweat going for a second, at minimum, you have to give up that for Danielle Hunter too. And I think at minimum, you need a second for Jaylon Johnson as well. So it makes your defense even better. Totally agree there. Fun names, but I don't know if the cost is feasible for Dallas in the short term or the long term. But it would definitely make your defense better. I just would not get your hopes up. All right, let's discuss the rumors around Ezekiel Elliott. Couple different reports, one from Jordan Schultz, one from The Athletic, Jeff Howe's Patriots beat writer, says that teams are calling the Patriots, running back needy teams, about trading for Ezekiel Elliott. Now, unlike the guy you cut last year, Elliott's contract is much more affordable, around 1.5, 6, or 7, something like that, over the rest of the season for Zeke. And it's a much cheaper cost for the same guy that you cut. Elliott's the exact same player. Still good in short yardage. You've actually seen some flashes of some bigger plays, which you saw occasionally last year, but then the body began to break down from that perspective. But he's still under 4-yard per carry guy. Now, as crazy as this next part might sound, of all the guys that have signed deals in the last year at the running back spot, in free agency, Zeke's actually been one of the better ones to get signed. Saquon Barkley got banged up, missed time with the franchise tag. Jonathan Taylor, we won't count because he got paid midseason. Josh Jacobs has a down year. Dalvin Cook is washed. Miles Sanders was a backup this week against Chuba Hubbard. The running back market's been bad, and I would rather trade for Zeke again than Dalvin Cook 9 times out of 99 times. It's just every time I do it. But running back has not been your issue with your ground game. It's your offensive line has not done its job well enough. And it's Zeke. It's like politics when it comes to Zeke or Dak or Dez years ago. Everyone's set in their ways. They like him or they don't. It would probably cost you a 7th. That's fine. It's a 7th. Who cares? But it doesn't fix your ground game, to be clear. So would you bring back Zeke? T for trade, P for pass. Wouldn't be overly shocked if we saw a deal involving Zeke from somebody. You know who could actually make some sense for Zeke? Maybe the Ravens. I think Gus Edwards kind of fills the same mold, but I wouldn't totally rule it out. They've been in the market. The Browns have been in the market for running back. I think Zeke's better than Kareem Hunt is right now. Better than Latavius Murray in Buffalo. T for trade, P for pass. All right, more super chats. $5. Pug Racer. Every year, Jerry likes his guys, yet he's always surprised in the divisional round. I would like Madison or Judy. I actually don't want Alexander Madison. He has not been very good so far this season. He's been a bit of a bit of a problem for the team. He's averaging 3.7 yards per carry. The next-gen stats leaders, by the way, I'll pull this up too, of the rushing yards over expected averages. The bottom players are as follows. Dalvin Cook is at negative 1.49. Madison is at negative 0.49. Ezekiel, these are just, I'm not going in order right now. Elliott's at minus 0.38. You got Miles Sanders at minus 0.7. You got Najee Harris at minus 0.25. It's just not great. One more super chat, and then, oh boy, we got a deal. Not for the Cowboys. Lone Wolf, just strong. We're doing anything today. We are doing duck races for the Cowboys play sheet from the Halloween costume I wore, and I will send you the Cowboys playbook, the actual one, offensive installs from 2017/2018 from that perspective. So we will have you guys covered there. That's every $5 entry gets you one, Lone Wolf. Every $5 gets you in to that giveaway. So we'll stay tuned on that one. We have a trade. Chase Young to the San Francisco 49ers. Awaiting trade details there. Chase Young on his way to San Francisco as they make the splash trade to go acquire the defensive end. It's a mid-round pick. It's a third-round pick going to the Commanders. So the Commanders are selling and punting as the Niners stay aggressive again at the trade deadline to acquire Chase Young. A third-round pick is going to the Commanders. You can push it across. You're good. And then once it updates, you're good too. For Chase Young. How about that? The Super Chat offer was better. It was Sam Williams and a third and a fourth. So Chase Young on his way out to the Bay Area as the Commanders are blowing it up. Montez Sweat and Chase Young gone. And the Niners make a big-time move. Grade the trade in the comments. A, B, C, D, or F. Or just how you make it feel. Makes you feel. A third-round pick to the Niners for Chase Young. From the Niners for Chase Young. Conditional third. I think it's just going to be a third. Maybe it could become a second if they pay him, something along those lines, but wow. Feels like an A for the Niners and maybe like a C for the Commanders. Kind of surprised the Jags went in on that one. Man. Commanders are selling. They are selling hard. Chase Young to the 49ers. All the NFC contenders making moves except for the Lions and the Cowboys. See if that changes today. We'll break down some more trades here momentarily, the Super Chats as well. Grade the trade, A, B, C, D, or F. A- for the Niners, and it's a rental. It's a third-round pick. It's going to be a late third-round pick. We know that. C for the Commanders. All right, let's go to the Super Chats here. After this one, let's hit our menu too. Jeffrey says, how about our third-round pick from this draft, or about a future second for Davante Adams? Also a future third and our 2024 fourth-rounder. It's not to give up. I'm just curious your thoughts value-wise. I think the hypothetical Adams trade would be a second and change. Now, I also don't think in the end that you're going to see a trade of Davante Adams. I think the Raiders are going to keep him. It's very doable. I think the trade's a second and change. The contract's doable. Total money this year is $6.54 million. You owe the prorated figure, so let's just say 3.5. Not bad at all. And then 17.5 next year, and then you could cut him and move on. Very, very easy to do. I just think the Raiders are going to keep him. I do. I don't think that that's going to go down in the end, which I would call. I think the issue is Ron Rivera and Washington are signing their own pink slips right now. By trading away Chase Young, Montez Sweat, they're selling, they're going to lose, and they're all going to get fired. And I don't think Josh McDaniels are willing to do that at this point. Also, note on the Chase Young, it is a comp third-round pick. Now, they can trade that one because they know they're getting it. It's from losing DeMeco Ryans to the Houston Texans as their head coach. So it's their later third rounder. Go figure. Here's our super chat menu on tap for today. Any super is a shout out. $5 super, you are entered into our duck race. If we get up under 100, we will make it Halloween themed because I think that is the maximum number is 100. If we go over 100, we'll do duck race style. The winner is going to get this play sheet that we use for Halloween with some of the real plays on the back. Also, I wrote 110 in Sharpie, and I can't get it off. And I will, I suppose, send you the playbook that has all the installs and the offense. It was the 2017 and 2018 Cowboys playbook, so it is a bit outdated, obviously, but it's the same terminology. So it is the Cowboys playbook. It's not the modern one, but it is still one of them there. All right, $20 is a shot, $50 is a beer bong, and $100 beer helmet of honor. We got you guys covered with all of those. Nate Snyder, what are the odds on Hollywood or Aaron Donald? I think very low. Cardinals shipped out Joshua Dobbs. They're going to get back Kyler Murray. I think they want to see what Kyler can do. And having the number one wide receiver on that team be Michael Wilson or Rondale Moore is probably not the route they want to go. So I think they're going to keep Hollywood. I would be blown away if Aaron Donald got moved. I don't see it happening. Chris B. Jesus, come on, man. Not the Niners. In theory, this would take them out of the running for Jaylon Johnson. In theory, who knows? It's the Niners. They are ultra aggressive, and I respect that from that perspective. I'm a little surprised it was just a comp third-round pick for Chase Young. That's very cheap. I thought he might go for more, but 2 day 2 picks acquired for the Commanders. They are selling. JJ, do you feel the boys as a shot, by the way? Unless you wanted 4 entries, JJ. Just clarify if not. I assume it's shot. Do you feel the boys need to make it trade to make the Super Bowl? Thanks for making every show fun to watch. I don't think you have to. And I don't think doing it guarantees it either. But it helps you, right? And look, if we're talking like you've been off by how much the past 2 years? A couple of plays, right? That's like 5%. If a trade makes you 5% better at a reasonable cost, isn't that worth it? You're talking play on offense here, play on defense here. Turpin bounces it wide, doesn't run over the kicker. Dak doesn't throw an interception. Diggs makes the INT. Like, any of those plays change your game drastically. So you've not been that far away. That's why in an open NFC, it is frustrating for everyone watching to see the Cowboys going, we like our guys, and Niners and Eagles going, nope, got to get better, got to get better. This is why the Eagles and Niners are viewed nationally as better organizations. Even though they whiffed on Trey Lance, they whiffed on Jalen Reagor. It happens to all of them. Those teams don't sit around. They go out and make big moves. Pug Racer, classic Cat Boys napping on the yacht. The Yacht Boys are not back. And they haven't been back since they made the Gilmore Cooks trade. And they're going to say, well, we made our trades in the offseason. As if that means not doing anything else afterwards. Lone Wolf wants 2 entries. You got it, Lone Wolf. As I've said time and time again, you're the GOAT, Tom. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate that. About 2,000 people watching live right now. If you haven't already, please subscribe here on the Cowboys Report. We have you guys covered daily Cowboys videos. The deal is, if we get to 170,000 subscribers, By the end of the deadline, hour 10 to go, we'll do a beer bong because I'm feeling thirsty today. We're at 169. Very nice. 644. Can we get to 169, 669? I'm going to do it right now. Hit that sub button. Free Cowboys videos will be live again on Thursday. There'll be 2 videos tomorrow. Live show on Thursday. We'll do a mailbag here at the end of the day, and we will do a cut as well. We'll call it a therapy session cut if the Cowboys don't make any trades either. Free Cowboys videos, live watch parties, live events just like this one here for the NFL trade deadline. When you are subscribed, don't miss out. Multiple videos every single day here on the channel. Oh, we're 14 away. Oh, I think we're going to get there. It's going to be great. There's some ice in my cup, and it falls in. 169. Ah, you guys are killing me. It's tied right into the real-time analytics. Probably one of them bots who subbed and unsubbed. 169, 669. Can we get there? Because we are immature here in the most fun way possible. At the Cowboys Report. Oh boy. We're 8 away. Get that screenshot ready to go, Producer Chris. I want the screenshot of it. Then we'll go through all the trades that have happened and get caught up on supers after that and talk some more Cowboys stuff here. We are 6 subs away from 169, 669 here. Everyone watching knows exactly what that is. Hit that sub button. You just got to pull up the stream and hit the screenshot button. It's going to look way better than the camera angle. I guess I can do it too. 4 subs away. Let's get there. And then if we get there, when we get there, I want everyone to spam nice in the comment section. 169665. Hit that sub button if you haven't already done so. We're 2 away, Chris. We're going to get there. We're 1 away. 1 more sub. Who's it going to be? Come on, don't leave me hanging. There it is. Everyone spam nice. Oh, someone unsub for just like 2 seconds. Unsub. Oh, I lost. I didn't get the screenshot. I can back it up. Everyone spam nice in the comment section. 100, and now we blew by it. But you know what? You got it? That's okay. Everyone spam nice. We got there. And now we're shattering it. Everyone was trying to be 16669. That's fun. Yeah, let's do that one now. 169696. We're 9 away. Keep spamming nice in the comments section. That one's probably even better actually. Get that screenshot ready to go. There we go. We're close. We're 6 away from 169696. We are mature as all get out. I promise you that. Keep spamming nice and sub to get us to that figure. We're 5 away. You also, guys, you get free Cowboys videos too every single day. The news, rumors, previews, watch parties, etc. So it's very much worth your time to subscribe here to the Cowboys Report. As we're at 69 minutes left too. Look at this. Look at this. Lone Wolf is right. 1 sub away. Can we get it on the number? On the number! 69 minutes away from the deadline and 169,696 subs. Everyone spam nice. To keep the good vibes going, we have a super chat. We're going out of order here, Producer Chris. From Dan Strahan, a $50 super chat. Who would you target for offensive line help? You look thirsty. Take a beer bong break. You got it, my guy. I pulled a hamstring at flag, so my hammies are all tight. I would have done the Ezra Cleveland trade. Look, you didn't have a 6th. I get it. You could have traded a future 5. I think they would have taken that. So it's fine. I would wonder if take the big names out of the equation because you're not going to trade for a big name. You know, how much does Michael Onwenu cost you from the Patriots? Can I move a future 4 or 5 for him? It's a lot, but Cleveland didn't go for very much, so I guess that's fair to point out. I like Garrett Bowles, but his money is kind of a non-starter short term. So Cleveland was the name that we talked about, and I'm a little bit mad he went for a 6th, and that was it. That was very frustrating for me because I'd have done that deal. So I don't know if you're going to be fine O-line help. Look, I'll give Chuma Edoga some credit. He starts every game like Chaz Young or Chaz Green, and he falls apart, and just nothing goes the correct way, and it's all very frustrating, and it just doesn't work out very well, and I'm annoyed by it. And then he plays good, so I'll give him credit for that one. So cheers to you, Dan. Beer bong coming up, and producer Chris, the memes continue to flow here on the Cowboys Report. From Scott, we have a $69 super chat. Everyone spam nice in the comments. Says, make a move, Jariah. Here's what we'll do. We'll round it up to 70, and I'll do a beer bong, and we'll give Scott 4 entries into the duck race. Or he can do a shot if Scott wants to clarify shot or duck race entries. Either way works for me. First beer bong coming in. Everyone spam nice.
We go chug, 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 chug. Chug for trades. We chug for trades.
Woo! Oh, boy. Woo! That's fun. All right, one more, then let's do one of those sponsors. Do all the trades, then we'll get caught up on supers. All right, one more. Cheers to you, Scott and Dan. You guys are awesome. By the way, Ben Barch has been waived by the Jags to make room for Ezra Cleveland. I put him on my practice squad tomorrow. I think that actually would be decent. All right. It's a truly, by the way. I know that's very soft of me, I know, but otherwise it's just like, I don't know, it's too hoppy otherwise, and I'm soft. All right, here we go.
Here we go, baby. Spam chugs in the chat right now. Tom's just putting them down, baby.
It's very cold. That one hurt a little bit. Not going to lie. All right. Here's what we'll do. We're going to go through all the trades that have happened so far. That'll get us to about an hour to go till the trade deadline. We'll run through the supers that have come in. We have not forgotten about you guys. Don't worry, we'll get to you. Then we'll recap any other stuff that's happened, and then just talk some rumors and Cowboys and have some fun here for the next hour. The big trade that just went down, Chase Young is a 49er. A third-round comp pick. I was wrong, by the way. It's not the DeMeco Ryans pick. It's the Ran Carthon pick. That's the one the Niners got as part of the diversity rules of the NFL for the Titans hiring Ran Carthon. So they got a bonus third-round pick for growing and development and developing minority front office executives and coaches. They got the third-round pick for free. They can trade that one now because it's guaranteed to convey to them, and it goes to San Francisco. The Commanders are selling, and by the way, I'll make note of this too right now. It sounds like that the ownership got involved with these trades. That ownership, with the new ownership, Josh Harris in Washington said, "Hey, make this happen," which means wasn't a head coaching call, and Ron Rivera is probably going to be fired at the end of the season. Now that was the big trade that impacts the Cowboys from both playing the Commanders twice. You don't have to play Chase Young or Montez Sweat now that he's gone to. We'll get to that in a little bit. You might have to trade Chase Young or face Chase Young in the playoffs potentially. The trade I would have made was this one: Ezra Cleveland goes to Jacksonville. The Vikings left guard has been dealt for a 6th-round pick. Even if that was just depth, I'd have felt a lot better about Ezra Cleveland. Now, remember, you don't have a 6th-round pick. You traded away for Brandon Cooks. 4th for Lance, 5th for Eric Scott, 6th for Brandon Cooks. That's frustrating, which is annoying. So you don't have one. I would have done it. Is what it is. I would traded a future 5 to help out your offensive line depth. I guess no teams were in the mix because it only was for a 6th. I'm surprised it was that low. The Vikings also traded for a quarterback earlier today. Joshua Dobbs, a conditional 7th-round pick to Minnesota. And Dobbs, that could become a 6th in the future based on playing time, etc. The Cardinals get a 6th-round pick back. So remember, they flipped a 5th for like 6 games, 7 games of Dobbs, or 8 games, whatever it was, and a 7th for a 6th. So not a great trade for Arizona, all things considered. Jaren Hall will still start for Minnesota this week. The Bears, meanwhile, bought, and they might trade Jaylon Johnson in the next hour here or so, we shall see, a 2nd-round pick going to the Commanders. So the Commanders get a 2nd and a 3rd for Sweat and Young, as it's been a busy 24 hours for Josh Harris. That's the Commanders owner. He traded away Montez Sweat, or his teams, I should say, traded away Montez Sweat, traded away Chase Young, traded away James Harden. So he owns the Sixers too. Been a busy couple of hours there for Josh Harris's teams. Bears. This one makes a lot more sense than the Chase Claypool trade. It won't be pick number 32 this time around. But boy, that's a lot. It's a lot. Eagles also made some trades. They got a 6th-round pick. It's the 6th for a 7th pick swap. The most popular trade all season long. They move on from Kentavious Street, who wasn't really going to play for them anyway, so it's fine. And then the Falcons give up a 7th or a 6th too, so pick swap. The Eagles have to free up some roster spots, so nothing too concerning there. The Eagles also got Kevin Byard previously, which I feel is worth mentioning here. 5th, 6th, and a safety in Terrell Edmonds. Was a great trade by Howie Roseman. Please ban. Everyone wants to ban the tush push. No. Instead, simply ban the Titans from trading with the Eagles, and you'll need to trade that, change that clock timer since it's doing the 0 thing. First, though, Leonard Williams. He's also gone as the non-Cowboys Eagles teams are selling. It's Leonard Williams to the Seahawks for a 2nd and a 5th, which is pretty crazy. It's a big cost to give up to obtain Leonard Williams, a pretty hefty move from that perspective. So Giants are selling, and the Commanders are clearly selling this year at the NFL trade deadline. Those are the noteworthy deals so far. I'll make one more note verbally, then we'll get the details for you. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the Browns receiver, is heading to the Lions. We'll get those details here momentarily. But first, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's you against the numbers. It's that simple. And instead of battling thousands of other players, pros, sharps, etc., you just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Simple to play. You could make your picks in like 60 seconds, maybe a bit longer if you want to take your time and try to make the perfect picks over and over again, but that's fine. They also offer projections on any sport, not just football, basketball, baseball, esports, if you're into that as well. My picks this week, I feel good about it. I'm still going to do the flex play because I'll tell you what, if there was an award for getting the most picks of one leg short, I'd be the best ever. I'd be so good. That's why I like flex play. You just got to hit 2 out of 3. Joe Burrow, more than passing yards against a kind of shaky Bills defense and secondary right now. Isaiah Pacheco, more than yards on the ground because the Dolphins' run D is not very good. And CeeDee Lamb, more than receiving yards because he's going to cook Philadelphia just like he cooked the Rams. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. But again, folks, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. A new trade. Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Detroit Lions. The Browns selling. Do not have the details at this stage of what DPJ is going for in this particular move. I'm guessing this is a Marvin Jones replacement for the Lions. He's kind of retired, basically. Frees up some more snaps for maybe a Cedric Tillman or a David Bell in Cleveland. And DPJ had, 97 yards all year. I'm going to guess this is a day 3 pick swap. I'm going to shoot my shot right now. Day 3 pick swap here for the Lions and Browns. Again, no details at this time. Oh, we have it. It wasn't a day 3 pick swap. A 2025 6th to the Browns. So, not that far off, but it was a pick being moved. 2025 6th round pick going to the Browns in exchange for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Lions obviously have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams. They released Marvin Jones because he's dealing with some family stuff. So this is the Marvin Jones replacement. So not a deal I would have made. You didn't need a receiver, but DPJ done. He was an 839-yard guy last year. I get that. He had 97 yards this year. He wasn't really a factor in the offense. So I'm not overly surprised by that one. DPJ off to the Detroit Lions. You go ahead and push it across. You're good. A 2025 6th round pick. Sometimes we're ahead of the guys making the graphics, Chris. That's only a good thing in the end. So Browns selling a receiver probably means more Cedric Tillman. Nothing too crazy from that perspective. Let's go to the Super Chat menu here. Then we'll get caught up on the Supers that have come in because I do want to make note of what's going on here. First off, any Super will be a shout-out. Promise you. We'll give you some love. Might not be that exact moment, but we will still give you a shout-out here. $5 entered into our duck race. Now, the duck race is under 100 people. It'll be Halloween-themed. Otherwise, normal duck race because that's the limits there. The winner is going to get the Cowboys play sheet from my Mike McCarthy Halloween costume from earlier this year. And I will send you the actual Cowboys playbook from 2017/18. So we will keep you guys covered with that one. I'm not sure if it's going to be Dropbox or email file. We got you guys covered there. So that's for $5. $20 a shot, $50 a beer bong, and $100 is a beer hat. Which reminds me, by the way, I didn't see JJ specify otherwise for his 20. That's going to be a shot. So cheers to JJ. Did you get the 4 entries for Scott, by the way, earlier? Sweetness. 1 shot in, and I already spilled. Classic. Also 2 beer bongs in, so, it kind of evens out, I guess, there. All right, Super Chat time. Captain Dak. Gilmore in a second for Jaylon Johnson. I'd actually would want to keep Gilmore because the whole reason why you go get a corner is to make it extra depth in case you lose somebody again due to injury. That's like the big reason why to go out and do it. And I don't want to, trade away one of my guys there. So a second, though, is I think the proper value for Jaylon Johnson right now. So I agree on that one there. Chris B. Promised myself I wouldn't get mad, but I'm pissed. Chris B is over $5 combined, so give him another entry here, by the way. The Chase Young trade got people down bad there. All right, Jeffrey, I can't remember if it's Bryson or Breeson. Sorry, Jeffrey. Is a trade for Shaq Thompson feasible? He broke his fibula back in September. I can't remember if that was a season injury or not, but you're not going to trade for a guy with a busted leg right now. So had he been healthy, yes, that would have been a good name to call about. But not healthy, not at this point. Ray Cheney, if they don't make a trade, I'm going to be upset. I get it. You know, the worst part about that Chase Young trade is it was a late third-round pick. The Niners can let Chase Young walk, and they'll get like a third or a fourth back in the comp pick process. So they didn't give up that much in the grand scheme of things. That's what's kind of frustrating about that one there. So, Lone Wolf from earlier did say 69 minutes left. That's why we got to 169. 696K, which now we get to 969 later on today, potentially, with 69 minutes left. So that was very fun. Appreciate that. Samaj Griffin. Niners got Chase Young, Randy Gregory. Eagles got Kevin Byard. Like we sit here with nothing with Jerry saying, we like our guys. F the Jones family, bro. We can never win anything with them. That's what's frustrating. And that is one of the many different things that separates this Cowboys team over the past few seasons from teams like the Niners or the Eagles. You've been off by a couple of plays. Now, you're off by a lot more last time we played the Niners, but in the playoffs, for several years now, it's been one or two plays that have separated you. And that goes back to the Romo era, too, at various games. One or two plays, you're right there. And those one or two plays can be made by the dudes you trade for or sign in free agency. The Cowboys draft well. The Cowboys are a good team. They're a good team top to bottom. But you have to be a great team to get beyond these divisional round games. And the lack of trades is one of the things holding them back. So I totally get the frustration. That is 2 entries, by the way, into our duck race. Cam boxed you. I don't think we're going to trade, but if we did, it should either be for Johnson, White, Henry, or even Ekwonu. Go Cowboys. All right, rapid fire here. Jaylon Johnson is available. I don't think the Cowboys want to pay the cost. We'll see if he gets dealt. We're inside of 50 minutes to go now. We'll see if that happens now. At this point, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to happen. Because I thought it would happen by now. It's going to go up against the wire, clearly. Devin White, Bucks are contenders for that division. I doubt they trade him. Derrick Henry, I think they want to show what Will Levis can do. No movement on his deal. I doubt he gets dealt for anything less than a third or a second. So that's kind of, I get it. And Ige Ekwonu, the Panthers won't because they have to protect Bryce Young. It would cost a first for him, by the way. But it's a fun name. I get it. Chris B, another entry. Cowboys, Sammy Perth notification of Jaylon Johnson to Philly. Don't want it, but you know what's going to happen. We like our guys, though. If he gets moved, Buffalo or Pittsburgh, please. Step up. Don't let Johnson go to Philadelphia or San Francisco. I don't want that to happen. Jacob Vasquez, in theory, isn't Young a good thing? Or Young to San Francisco a good thing for the Cowboys? We avoid a good pass rush. We play the Niners twice. We're going to beat San Francisco to beat Philly soon. Here's my mindset. Short term, yes. You don't have to play Chase Young or Montez Sweat. However, would you still have beaten them with Chase Young and Montez Sweat? I certainly think so. Maybe the Week 18 game doesn't matter anything, and you kind of just like die and roll over anyway. So who cares? You've clinched your spot or seat or whatever. But if you have to play the Niners in the postseason, boy, you wish they weren't going to have Chase Young, right? So short term, yes. Long term, maybe not so much. Plus, you're fighting for division crown and seeding, so you want the Niners to lose games. From Julian. Can you explain the $60 million Dak cap situation, please? Yes, I can. It's a good question. We'll spend a lot of time on this, I know, in the offseason. It's not really an issue for you at this stage. All right. Dak Prescott, as it sits currently on the books, is due $60 million next year. It's not actually 60, it's actually 59.45, but it gets rounded up. And the reason why that number is so high is because they've pushed money off into the future in previous years. Now, the good news is that number is kind of fake. It's actually very easy to get that figure down from 59.5, we'll round up to, if they wanted to, $27, $28 million. That could be done via an extension. Whatever, you can give Dak $50 million a year, that's fine. 45, 43, 47, whatever. You could bring down that 2024 cap hit to something more in the range of, the $27, $30 million range, and now it's not outlandish at all. It's just that Dak, so far, the years of this deal, his average salary has been under $20 million. So you've pushed money off in the future, like smart teams do. Sometimes the Cowboys are smart. They will push money off into the future and be more competitive and not take these massive cap hits when they don't have to. So it's actually very easy to push that money off. Now, if you did just a straight restructure, you'd be able to get that number down from 60 to something like, or 59.5, sorry, to something in the range of like 37, something like that, it's high, but it's not the highest that you'll have or see the past 2 or 3 years, frankly. So it's decision time in the off season. That's what that number means. Either dump him, extend him, or restructure. And you should probably know your answer by now, which everyone's going to scream Dak. It's politics. That's how it works, So it's also funny because the number just keeps rising every year. It's, Dak's a $40 million quarterback. He's a 45. He's a 35. He's a 50. The number rises every year, even though his numbers actually been pretty low because they've handled the contract properly once they finally got it done. It's a good question, Julian. We will spend more time on it with graphics and numbers to kind of make it more clear once the season ends. Al Walton. It sucks watching other teams stack up and get better while we just sit back and watch. I get it. The reason we were so hyped about the Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore deals was that the Cowboys did something. They were actually being like a normal NFL team and upgrading their rosters via non-draft paths in the offseason. And I'm telling you, they're going to come out and say, we made our deadline deals in the offseason. And that's going to be really annoying. That's not how the NFL works. It's a lie. Chris B. Jones rather be good enough to make the playoffs and pray. This is correct. This is how I've always viewed it. The Cowboys would rather keep their numbers are made up, just use it as the example, would rather keep their 15% chance every year of making the playoffs and seeing what happens, or, making the playoffs, seeing what happens, 50% chance of winning a title, make the playoffs, see what happens, then bump that number to 25% for a year or two and take a 10% chance a year later. They would rather be a 9, 10, 11, 12 win team every season, make the playoffs, see what happens, than to be more aggressive and do what the Eagles and Niners have done, who, by the way, have been more aggressive and are still consistent contenders every single season. You can be more aggressive. The Cowboys won't. They're too worried about what happens 2 to 3 years from now. They are not happy, It's not that they don't want to win. It's that they want to make the playoffs every year. That's their goal. Their goal is not win a championship every year. It's make the playoffs and see what happens. And that makes them a good team. You have a good team. You're a top 5, 7, 8 team right now. They don't hang banners for that. You don't get a banner for we made the playoffs again. You need to be a bit more aggressive. It's annoying. Benjamin Alexander. I've been here for 3 seasons. By the way, this is Benjamin's first-time Super Chat, so 2 claps for Benjamin. Been a fan for 3 seasons. My first is, but I pay up to a second and a depth piece for Donald. Puts us in contention. Thank you, Benjamin. So you're thinking Donald and Neville Gallimore, right? Something in that range. I do it too. I don't think he's available. I think you'd have to go after a, more. Maybe give up a first, but it'd be fun. Man, imagine you're in the playoffs, right? It's the Seahawks or the Falcons or some shit. Desmond Ridder under center. He looks to his right. Says, okay, Tank Lawrence. Oh, so that's fine. Looks to his left. Fuck. So Micah Parsons and Aaron Donald next to each other, and he's like, it's third and 11. You're like, shit. That's terrifying. That's the remember the Geno Smith clip. Oh shit. Which allegedly wasn't Geno. I think it was one of the linemen got beat and yelled it, and they thought it was Geno. That's terrifying. It's not going to happen, but damn if it would not be fun. Brent Workman, $5. Also into our end of deadline duck race. Winner gets this play sheet with the real plays on the back, and most importantly, I'll actually send you the 2017/18 Cowboys playbook that I own. Brent Workman, Pollard and Gallup for Henry. I don't want to move. The money actually works out kind of nicely for you, so I get it. I think if you're going after Henry, you'd be better off moving picks only and keeping Pollard. Henry, I think, is a better fit, but he also hasn't been the same dude that he once was. I would rather do Gallup and a pick and keep Pollard so I can use both of them. Austin Lloyd, what kind of trade value can we get out of Trey Lance? I don't think that much. I don't think Minnesota's going to go that route. They drafted somebody on day 3 this past year. That's kind of their move. So I don't think that's the path that they're going to go. I think best case would be like a 4th. You got back what you gave up, which I think is unlikely. I think it'd be a 5th or a 6th. So you probably just hold him. And more importantly, the trade was not made for this year. It was made for next training camp. Dwayne Jackson, $10, 2 entries into our raffle. If the Cowboys don't address their needs at offensive line, linebacker, cornerback, mediocre mindset, always stay stagnant. If you wanna if you wanna win, boss got to pay the cost. It's always the rich get richer, everybody but us. I don't disagree. I think you're okay at those spots right now, barring injury. But Tyron's not going to stay healthy. We all know that. It's tough to find offensive line. I think there's some good linebackers who could be had. I'd love a corner to just not play Nashawn Wright, no Abe Gnogany. But I get your light on draft capital. Poke the bear. Let's see if something happens there. First time super chat from Kevin Moore. 2 claps for Kevin. Trade a 7th for Cordero Patterson, the running back. I don't hate it, actually. He cost you like $2 million rest of the year, so that's feasible. He's kind of overlooked in Atlanta, phased out of the offense. If you didn't have Kevontae Turpin, by the way, I would be all for this move. He can do some pass-catching stuff for you, can do some aggressive things down the field for you, can be a return guy. It'd be a fun fit. My issue is I think his role is kind of the Turpin role. But he's a bigger guy. He's a taller back, which, it's fine. Still got some juice for it. I'd go after him. I'd at least call. Worst case they say is, no, you have 2 7th. I'd be shopping that 7th so hard, trying to find something today. 38 minutes to go. Not feeling great about it. From Mark, $5 into our entry, which again is for this play sheet. It's the fake laminated play sheet with the real plays on the back, and maybe I can get rid of the 110 that I put on there like an idiot and can't erase because I did it in Sharpie. And I will give you the actual Cowboys 2017-18 playbook too. Skeletor is a moron. He sat there, said he's happy with what we have. Great teams always try to improve. When is he and his son going to retire? Aloha. He'll retire soon. He's given over a bunch of power to Steven. This is Steven's team. Here's my issue. is that Jerry Jones will sit there and say, and this is, I'm translating the words, so not verbatim, but it's how it goes, that he would not put this team at the same level as the 49ers. He said that. But he thinks they're a top contender. So in that second tier. So if that's how you feel, why wouldn't you make your team better? It is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting new results. Eagles and Niners are more aggressive than you. It's why they end up on top of you in the NFC most seasons. It's a big difference. It's frustrating and annoying and disappointing. So, Mark, I feel your pain, and I know a lot of you in the live chat, I see it in the comments, are feeling the exact same way. In the end, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys want to make the playoffs. That is their goal. Let's do a different one because we already passed that figure, actually. That is their goal. And they make it most years. Now, again, they're a good team. Can they be a great team? We'll see. All right, folks, we have 36-ish minutes to go until the end of the NFL trade deadline. Every now and then there's a buzzer beater trade. Who is the next player to be traded? Is it a Josh Uche? Jaylon Johnson's out there. I kind of thought he'd be moved by now. We'll see if that ends up happening. That's going to come down all the way down to the wire there. Who is the next player to be traded? If you get the team right, even better. Who is the next player to be dealt? Rolo says OBJ to Dallas. LeBron, bad monkey, stop trolling. As a reminder, fake news will get you at least put in timeout on the channel. I won't block you, but you'll go in timeout. Jerry Jeudy. Okay, I don't mind that one. Ooh, I like Mark's super chat. We'll get that one a little bit. I like Mark's idea. Stay tuned on that one. Let's see here. Jeudy. Denver's kind of not the seller I thought they were going to be, which is interesting. AJ Brown, I wish. Adoree Jackson, that's a good name. Let's see, we've got DeAndre Hopkins. Kind of, I'll make this point too. The Chiefs are not that well run. That's my hot take. They're not run bad, but they're run like good-ish. They don't have the horses at wide receiver. Now they've tried some things. I'll give them credit for that, but they have not gone nearly as aggressive as they could have. The Mahomes cap is kind of high, actually, like top 3 or something, or top 4. It doesn't have to be. It's Mahomes. They're kind of letting him carry the team a bit more than maybe they need to from that perspective. Jaylon Johnson, Kendall Fuller, Jaylon Johnson, Josh Jacobs, lots of Jaylon Johnsons in there. All right, let's check in on the sub race. 170K is the goal today. Can we get there? If we do, it's a beer bong. We blew past 169,969 and 996. We're at 169,741. When you guys subscribe, you get free Cowboys videos each and every single day right here on the channel. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. News will be live for every single game and more. Hit that sub button. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Link again. Just hit the sub button. It's very simple. Go do it right now. Our super chat menu. $1, any shout out. $5. How many do we have so far, by the way? Entries. 34. So if we get to 100, it'll be the normal duck race. Under 100, Halloween style, since it is Halloween after all. Winner gets this play sheet. It's got just a generic one on the front and plays in the back, and I will hook you up with the Cowboys 2017/18 playbook. It's not the same as it is now. It is still the same terminology, though. So it's got the run installs, the pass installs, protection stuff, all that. It's either going to be a Dropbox link or I'll Google Drive it or something. We'll figure it out there. But I will email that to you. That's for the winner. End of the deadline. $20 for a shot, $50 for a beer bong. Done 2 already. $100 you go in the Cowboys beer hat of honor, and we'll chug 2 beers out of it. All right, Ecuador man. SF and Philly dumped overpaid QBs. Why can't Dallas? Honestly, your guy's better. Right? Carson Wentz is out of the NFL. Maybe he might not play ever again. And he fell apart quickly in Philadelphia. San Francisco moved on from Jimmy G in large part to give Trey Lance a shot, which, of course, you now have. They fell backwards into Brock Purdy, who was kind of hit a bit of a rough patch for the first time in his career. And Jimmy G now sucks in Vegas. The answer is that outside of a couple of moments, those guys weren't consistent top 10 guys. Your guy is. The better example might be like, why the Commanders, and then Dak's still better, why the Commanders get rid of Kirk Cousins? Commanders still searching for a QB. They would have loved to have had Kirk back. They messed that one up. So the difference is your guy's better. Now, they can if they want to. They can dump him after this year if they so choose. But the downside is, what's your viable backup plan? Do you have one? Eagles had Hurts. Niners had Lance. They lucked into Purdy. There are some differences there in that spot. Samaj Griffin. Also, Dak's not even top 10 highest paid quarterback, so he's tied for 10th. Is your overpaid? I don't think so. That's how the market works. Sticker shock ignored. We haven't won in 28 years, and Jerry don't care. Jerry wants to win, but he wants to win his way, and he doesn't want to. And Steven doesn't want to sacrifice longer-term years. That's why they are content being, let's make the playoffs, see what happens. That's why they won't blow it up. How can you blow up a playoff team? It's tough. It's a tough mindset. Mark, you think Jay's going to hold that $20 million or so if Dak wrestles or asks for stupid money? Can you just pay him off and be done with him versus signing him for huge money? The $20 million to pay for guys like Micah and CeeDee Lamb. I think, don't we feel better about Dak right now? The last 2 games, he's carried the offense. Defense has played great too. Special teams, don't get me wrong, but the ground game is MIA still. It's kind of been that way, especially in the playoffs or key games for 3 years now, 2.5 years now. He's played pretty well. Honestly, it's a future problem. I'm really not. I don't care about it right now. Not to be dismissive of the super chat, because thank you, Mark. But you have half a season in playoffs. Let's get there, and then we'll discuss it. Dwayne Jackson. If the Cowboys are selling, who could they actively be shopping right now? Maybe a depth player. I think it'd be something along the lines of like a Neville Gallimore or a Golston, a defensive piece where there's actual depth. I think they'll get some calls on some of those depth pieces. Maybe a safety draws some interest, but I wouldn't expect anything more than if a team offers a 5th or a 6th for Gallimore, maybe they do it because he's not going to be a long-term piece. But I'd be surprised if they sold in the end. Now, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Who here's, had a tough time buying tickets last second? You don't know where you're going, all this crazy random fees tacked on last second. That's why I like Game Time. All in prices so you know exactly how much to pay when you're about to buy. And Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy shows like Producer Chris, theater, and more. They have killer last-minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time, simply put, takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. What I like is you can click your ticket before you buy, take your phone and just kind of look left or look right, and it'll be kind of like a live photo. It'll actually show you where you're sitting as you move on. It's a great feature of the app. It's very, very modern and high tech. Game Time also giving you $20 off your first purchase when you use promo code CowboysChat. Simply create your account at GameTime.co. Go to the bottom right of the app, click the profile button. You'll see redeem code. then plug in COWBOYSCHAT. It's Cowboys Chat for $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms apply, but redeem that code for promo code Cowboys Chat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price, all guaranteed. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Now, if you want the Cowboys to make a trade, like the video right now. We are not quite to 600 likes. Let's get that number there. As your likes come in, some news here. Jaylon Johnson is staying in Chicago. After all of that drama of the he's getting shopped, he's not getting shopped, extension to this morning / late last night of the Bears are allowing Jaylon Johnson to search for a trade. He is expected to stay. Now, maybe this is a last-minute ploy to get an offer. We can put that timer back up there, by the way, Producer Chris. We've got less than a half hour to go, but Jaylon Johnson is staying in Chicago. No trade is expected for the Bears' standout corner, which I think is a good thing. For the Cowboys, if you weren't going to get him, you didn't want him in Philly, and you did not want him in San Francisco. So in theory, that takes care of that one. We have another trade to get to. We'll get to that, then some more Super Chats here in a moment. But first, a new trade with Jaylon Johnson set to stay. One of the teams that was heavily in the mix for Jaylon Johnson was the Buffalo Bills. And maybe indicating that he will not be going anywhere is this. Rasul Douglas, the former Packers corner, is on his way to Buffalo. We are still awaiting the details of this trade. This one just came across the wire, but Green Bay, in kind of not a good spot at this stage, is going to sell Rasul Douglas to Buffalo. The Bills are very much decimated, banged up at the cornerback spot. They've been missing some pieces. Douglas is now going to the Bills. Again, we're awaiting those details on that front. They can go ahead and push it across until they update. I'm not sure why the backgrounds aren't pulling, but it's fine. Rasul Douglas going to Buffalo. Again, details not yet known at this stage, as there's a piece for the Bills. They are banged up at corner. Kaiir Elam's not even playing for them. We'll see what happens on that front. As the Bills get Douglas, that's kind of probably going to be a late day 3 pick would be my guess. Been a active day, but a non-splashy day for the NFL trade. Let's hit some of these Super Chats here. I don't know why the backgrounds aren't pulling, but it's okay. I'm sure they'll fix it at some point. I'll make note again, every $5 Super Chat gets you entered into the race at the end of the day for this play sheet from our Halloween costume, and I'll get you the Cowboys playbook from 2017/18. All right, Super Chats. Dwayne was our most recent one we got to. So next up is Mark. Marcus Peters for a 7th. Had a pick 6 last night. Gives you a veteran corner depth, plus it's a 7th. Who cares? I'm in. Something tells me neither side would say yes because the Cowboys like their guys, and the Raiders are trying to win because they're kind of in bad shape. From CD's Nuts. Trey Lance and the Falcons for a 2nd, then trade both to get another first rounder. Who says no? I love it. Falcons won't do it. That's too much for Lance. Desmond Ridder has not been very good. He's got a fumbling problem right now and missing some big plays. They gave Heineke some chances. It's kind of been a weird offense. It's Arthur Smith. It's featuring the wrong guys. It's Atlanta. They're competitive. They're just not competitive in the normal way, I guess. You're not going to get a 2nd for Lance, unfortunately. Ed Vila. We ain't doing shit, at least in no line. Same shit, different day. I can translate the emojis. I get the frustration, Ed. I really do. Awesome Cade 16. If we trade, we get a superstar or good enough. It's not going to be for a star. If you make a trade here in the final 23 minutes or so, I would say this is going to be a, depth piece at linebacker or corner or something. That's what I would guess. I'd be surprised if it was a blockbuster buzzer beater here. It'd be fun as hell. I'm not going to get my hopes up, though. Aiden Arbiz, if they don't trade for anyone, I'd be really upset with this team. Everyone's making moves but us. I get it. I think a lot of people would be upset. I think a lot of them would be, and I totally understand. I totally understand. From Mark, aloha, Tom. My friend, how is the family in Liver? Family's doing well. Get to take Olivia trick-or-treating for the first time tonight. She's almost 2 now, so she's old enough she gets to be, in her words, pumpkin. She's a pumpkin for Halloween. She asked for that a lot. So she has a little pumpkin. We were going to let her be like Moana or Elsa or Rapunzel. Pumpkin is what she wanted to be. So she gets to be a pumpkin. Apex 2.0. Here's a throwback entry into our raffle. Dallas should sign Antonio Brown and Earl Thomas. Some of the throwback desires of Earl Thomas every show. Let's see, we've got Antonio Brown. Bring back Dez. Bench Zeke for Alfred Morris. His first year was a real take. That was back when we were on Facebook, which you ain't seen comments, though you've seen Facebook comments. Mark, this is a fun poll. All right, Mark, we'll do it for you. Since we got 21 minutes to go, seems like a no. Who should be the GM? Jerry Jones or Tom Downey? Pick a GM for the Cowboys. Tom Downey? It's me. Jerry Jones, your actual owner. No real GM option, by the way. Thank you, Mark. You guys can vote in that pin poll right now. Marcus, no moves, yet the Niners got Chase Young, SMH. Disappointing. That's going to help them out. Remember, you're not just in a battle to win the division. You're also in a battle to, get the seedings. Right now the Niners are a wild card team for now. I'm guessing that's going to change, but they're a wild card team at this moment. Dallas, if they win, they'll still be a half game back, but they'll control their own destiny in the NFC East at least, and probably beyond that. So keep winning games. Seeding matters. Cam Boxja, trade for Henry, draft Bowers, now we play catch up. I don't think Henry's going to get moved. There was a claim that has also been disputed by Tennessee-based people that the Ravens and Titans had a deal in place for Derrick Henry, and Titans ownership shot it down. That was the claim. Don't know if it's true or not, but that was the claim out there. Jahad Busey, tell me, why wouldn't you put your chips in this year knowing that your draft was horrible? I don't agree with it because I would be aggressive, but they would tell you that historically speaking, and they'd be right, they actually draft pretty well, all things considered. I'm not saying I agree with it, and I would be more aggressive, but they would tell you we actually draft pretty well, so we're not going to give away all of our picks. We won't be the Rams F them picks, guys. Leroy Pearson Jr., we sitting back and watching the good get better. 19 minutes to go. Maybe not much else happens here. Seems like no Jaylon Johnson. We'll see if any more buzzer beater deals come in here at the wire, but maybe the Eagles don't do anything else. And that's kind of sad to be where we're at if Eagles don't do something fun, CD's nuts. Who would you get for a depth piece from Green Bay? He's not a depth piece, he's a good piece. How much does Devondre Campbell cost me? Probably too much would be my guess. I'm looking at the roster now. They have like 8 offensive linemen. How much does Yosh Nijman cost me? Can I get him for a 7th? So one of their backup tackles. I doubt I can get Zach Tom from them. I kind of don't love that Packers team right now. I don't think their new regime is nearly as good without Ted Thompson. I think they're kind of taking a step back. We'll see. Krasy, a first-time super chat. 2 claps for Krasy. Love the show, Tom. Best chat sports employee. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Krasy. Cheers to you. Taha Ahmed's having some fun here. This team needs to call for Jameez or the Wall. I can't remember how to pronounce it. That's a throwback name right there. That's a Cowboys legend name right there. That was a trade from the Raiders, etc. Got the details on the Rasul Douglas deal. Surprised by this one. Stay tuned. We'll go to it once the graphics are built. In the meantime, one more $5 super chat from Leroy Pearson Jr. I would have loved to have gotten Cleveland. Kick Tyler Smith to left tackle, Cleveland at left guard for the remainder of the season. This is depressing as usual. Yeah, it does tend to be that way. I get it. I get it. It's annoying. We have the Rasul Douglas trade details here. A third is going to Green Bay for Douglas and a fifth. So I'm going to do the trade value chart here. And that's going to be roughly, emphasis on roughly here, that's going to be a late third for a fifth. That's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. That's going to equate to roughly a mid-fourth, trade value-wise for Rasul Douglas. He's been good. I am a little surprised it's that much, actually. That's kind of I guess the Bills were really in on Jaylon Johnson, didn't get it done, and then pivoted to go get Rasul Douglas. Look, Bills need help. They were in dire straits. So he's a good football player, but I am surprised he went for that much in the end. So Douglas to the Bills with a fifth in exchange for a third-round pick. I would assume they are all 2024 draft picks. Not specified in any of the reports, but I'd assume that's what it is there. Leroy Pearson, to do a fourth and Lewis for Johnson in a heartbeat. But Bears ain't. Bears sounds like they are not going to trade Johnson after allowing him to try to find a trade partner, which I think is for their best case in the end. But it would have been at least a second, I think. Not a future four and a nickel. It would have been a lot more than that. Zach Store and a 9. Davante Adams for a second and Gallup. You happy? I'm thrilled. We're throwing a pizza party is what we're doing. Joke intended there for those of you that know what the pizza party is about. Ironically, it was for the Michael Gallup pick. Now that I think about it, it was for Gallup originally. So I actually kind of feel bad now. That's my bad. I do it so quickly. I'd be so pumped, but it's not going to happen. Lone Wolf, random question. Why don't people mention that Antonio Brown had 88 for a bit? He didn't do that much? Yes, that's why. I joked sometimes about him being a member of the 80 Club. That was one of those, oops, we gave 88 to a bad player. Shouldn't have done that one. It happens. But that's why he's not mentioned, because he wasn't very good. Adwin, another $5 entry into our raffle, which today is for the play sheet that we use for the Halloween costume, plus some real plays on the back. Trips LT Tight 33 Gut Boss, which is kind of their 3 tight end inside handoff play. And then there's G Truck RT N40K, which is kind of more of a offset play. And then one of their favorite plays is still Weak Right FT 37 Will Naked RTX Over, which is their play action waggle play, that kind of boot right that worked super well when Dak was calling it for Will Grier. And then their double slants, but they still run to this day. It's their double slants play. It's G double, right quick, scat right, Sally tosser mid. It's the Sally tosser part refers to the double slants side of it. All right, Adwin. Man, I wanted Aaron Donald because he looked so happy around everybody, especially Dak for the game or something. Stick gift pulled out. There was the photo of Aaron Donald literally bear hugging Dak Prescott and putting him up on his arms, which was kind of crazy. And I had made the troll tweet of Donald went up to the Cowboys and said, "Come get me if you can come get me." And then Donald did that, and it was kind of funny from that perspective. It's all entertaining for me at least. But yeah, he looked happy, but it's just not going to happen. I don't think. All right, Lone Wolf, $5. People immediately hyped up Dez initially. It's a little weird to me. Was he hyped up back then? This takes me to 4 entries, right? I believe so. Lone Wolf has 4. We'll have producer Chris check, but he should have 4 because he had a 10 earlier. Yeah, you're at 4. You're at 4, Lone. You spent a first-round pick on Dez. And anytime you spend a first-round pick, there's going to be hype. Fair or not, there's going to be hype. Like, I told you guys, Mozzie was a developmental piece. There were some who were like, Mozzie's better than Jalen Carter. No, he wasn't. It's insane. He was never better than Jalen Carter. He can still grow and become better, but first-round pick always leads to hype. That's how it goes. All right, what was, as we got 12 minutes to go here, what was the worst Cowboys team of all time? Or trade. Worst Cowboys trade of all time. It's got to be the Roy Williams trade or the Galloway trade, right? He traded 2 1s for Galloway. That was bad. Roy Williams. I think our age is showing there, which is, I get it. It's fair. Brandon Carr was a signing. Let's see. Galloway. Amari Cooper to the Browns. You still miss him to this day. Roy Williams. Trading up for Claiborne. Hurt you, but it was going to be Michael Brockers. And they said Bobby Wagner, which, oops, would have hurt you. Alex Barron, was he for like a 5th, though? It wasn't. He cost them a game. I remember that game. It was against the Commanders, I think. Romo was a touchdown pass or a first down, and it's called back for Alex Barron holding. I remember that one distinctly. At least that's how I remember it. Roy Williams, Amari Cooper trade away. Everson Griffin. He got a 5th back. And I was out of the league quickly after that. This trade deadline, you've done nothing left. Taco Charlton, Roy Williams. That was a draft pick. Rolando McClain was a trade, but he gave up nothing for him. Then you paid him. 10 minutes to go. Let's put 30 seconds on the clock here. Every 100 likes we get right now, in the next, we'll go to a 9:30, then we'll get to some super chats here. Every like we get, every 100 likes, 100 likes is a shot. Very different. That is the difference between me doing like 1 or 2 and me dying. And there's a lawsuit on the hands, and it's a disaster. So every 100 likes, we'll say we were at 650, we weren't quite there, is a shot here on the show. We have 3,000 people watching live right now. We should shatter this number. We'll take it down to 930. We began at 650. We are already up to 732. 762. Clayton, I didn't know you were in the hospital. You okay? I'm glad you're out of it. Bottoms up. Oh, boy. 10 seconds left at 8:06. Jeffrey, I clarified. I didn't go with what I said initially. One more shot at the buzzer. All right. From Cody, if you think the deadline's frustrating now, wait till AI Jerry's running this team in 10 years. I don't have to imagine. It's Steven. He's into our giveaway here. CD's nuts. What is a crazy 3 teams should happen before the buzzer? Let me think here. Broncos send Jerry Jeudy to somewhere not named Carolina, and Carolina gets a receiver in exchange for a 2nd-round pick. I don't know who that is. I don't know what the math looks like there. Or Davante goes to the Saints, and they ship Shaheed to Carolina. I don't know, something crazy like that. It's not going to happen, of course, but yeah, you said crazy. Matthew, because you're a good guy, Tom. Well, thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. 8 minutes to go. Quick notes. As you go to our Super Chat menu here real quick. As producer for that here. Updates from Albert Breer on the Patriots. They're going to keep Josh Uche, Kyle Duggar, and Michael Onwenu. 3 good young players in the final years of their deal. He also says they never got any calls on Mac Jones or Ezekiel Elliott. There had been multiple reports earlier that the Patriots were getting offers or calls on Zeke Elliott. Sounds like that is not the case, as per Albert Breer, which of course got the Cowboys linked because some people just will not let go of the past. Maybe now we can. Who knows? Here's our Super Chat menu. $1 equals a shout-out. $5. You are entered into our duck race for this play sheet with the real Cowboy plays on the back, and I will send you the actual Cowboys playbook too. Don't snitch on me. Also, I didn't get it from the Cowboys. I got it from somebody else, so I'm probably not getting in trouble for that. $100 is a shot. 50 is a beer bong. By the way, we're at 969 likes. And $100, you go in the Cowboys beer helmet of honor. So thank you guys to all super chatted so far today. $10 more from Dwayne Jackson. We will run the duck race here, by the way, when the deadline ends. So deadline comes, no more entries allowed, so don't get some chaos there. Did you build that big L3 of the Cowboys make no moves in the scripts? If not, build it quickly for me while we do this, because then we can just kind of jump in and shoot the shit for our post-game cut. We'll do a mailbag as well. Keep that in mind. Dwayne Jackson. I think the Jacksons trying to take a trade on its own. Maybe find a trade partner. I think that why it didn't happen because Chicago's asking too much in return. Very possible, Dwayne. I think it was they sit down, they say, this is what we want for you. Can you get it and get paid the way you want to? Maybe it happened that way. Maybe it didn't. I think it's very plausible, Dwayne, that's how those conversations went down. Maybe Johnson wasn't getting the deals he wanted because, remember, teams are tight on cap space right now. Makes it a little bit more complicated to even do a longer-term deal. You can only restructure so much of it. It would have cost them some space. Maybe no one to give up a second. Who knows? But I think that's very possible there, Dwayne. From Seth, any chance to get Boyd or Thielen? Panthers are bad. You're not getting Tyler Boyd or anyone from the Bengals. They're not selling. And Panthers are bad. They have to also give Bryce Young developmental chips. And taking away his only good receiver is not a good way to do that. If the Panthers didn't have a franchise, if the Panthers had Andy Dalton, yes, call about Thielen. But Thielen is their only competent playmaker right now on offense. They have to keep him, or else it's just going to be a disaster. SCUJK into our race with 5 minutes to go until the deadline comes and goes. Looking forward to the Eagles game. Going to be a really good game. Was there any open to get? Keep up the good work. I would have loved that Ezra Cleveland for a 5th, or he went for a 6th. I'd have done that one. I'd have done it. I'd have called about some linebackers, about a corner. Seems like Jaylon Johnson's not going to hurt. Of the trades that went down, Chase Young one kind of intrigues me because it was only a late 3. I would have thought about it. And I would have done. I would have done the Cleveland one. It sounds like Denver's not going to sell anybody. We'll see if that changes in the final 5 minutes here, but sounds like they're going to keep everybody. Joe Ramirez into our raffle. Niners trade for Chase Young. What the F, Jerry? It's annoying, isn't it? That's a great trade for San Francisco. You're going to let Chase Young go in free agency and get a future 3rd-round pick or 4th-round pick back in the comp pick process. So you trade down a round for a half year of Chase Young. I think that's worth it. I really do. Rashard Lee, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, what will the celebration be? You know, I've never thought about it. Like, I've never thought of, what I would do. I don't. That's so far ahead. I would probably black out, and not from alcohol, but from sheer excitement. Like I'd just be so over the moon. I'd probably cry. I have no idea what I would do. I'd be so happy. Don't tell my wife it'd be the happiest moment of my life. From Mark, what was the Minnesota Guard available? Ezra Cleveland. He got shipped for a 6th. Yeah. Did Jerry Jones try? Doesn't sound like it. Tyron's done. Not getting Osiris is looking bad for us. Our 2023 draft is a no-show. Feels like a prostate exam. I get the frustration. Again, you're rookies, right? Mozzie Smith actually played pretty well against the Rams, but it's a process. He needs more time. Schoonmaker's done nothing. DeMar Rousseau is going to be a huge piece. He was going to be so good, but he's hurt. Fehilko's a scratch every week. Awesome Richards only plays because of injuries, and he actually wasn't that good against the Rams. Eric Scott's a scratch every week. Deuce Vaughn was actually playing, but is now a scratch because of special team stuff. And then Jalen Brooks is a scratch every week. No impact. Sucks. From Mark, can't believe no one was asking for Gallup like KC. Everyone knows Gallup doesn't have it the same way he used to. It's just not there. Dwayne Jackson, how much draft capital would you give up for Brian Burns? I'm surprised he didn't get dealt. I'm actually not that surprised. They shot down 2 future firsts last year. It would have been at least a 1 to get him this season. So really no way that I think the Panthers would have sold him for anything less than at least a first. J Buzz, should we have paid more for Young in division? I would not have moved my 2nd. My 3rd I would have done and just gone full-on pass rush chaos, but I don't think the Cowboys would have even thought about that. And in the end, the NFC East tax might have been even higher. Mike Pena, a first-time super chat. 2 claps for Mike. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Mike, you are into our raffle here. We've got 1 minute to go. Let's check in on our sub race. By the way, any more $5 supers that come in the final minute here will still be entered into our duck race. We will give away the Halloween play sheet that I used for Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys, and I'll send you the 2017/18 Dallas Cowboys playbook. Still technically a Garrett offense, but it was also Kellen, so we're going to count it either way. It's the same terminology, so you still get some good info for it there. If we get to 170K subs today, it'll be a beer bong. We will have a post-deadline reaction for you here in just a little bit. We will have a mailbag for you as well, so get your questions in via #Cowboys. So get your $5 supers in. Last seconds to do it here. There might be a trade after the deadline. Certainly would not be the first time that has happened. So sub with 8 seconds to go. You can pull off that deadline timer in the preview side. As we are at 4 p.m. Eastern and the trade deadline is here. You had auto push pull on, didn't you? Just go ahead and push it across again. Push it across. Trade deadline is here. We will see if any more buzzer beater deals come in. Some more super chats, however. The Cowboys, by the way, officially did not make any moves. Michael Gelkin saying they did not make any deals. So they're out. The final $5 super chats for our raffle coming up here momentarily. Blake Thompson, a linebacker corner. As it stands right now, no linebackers moved today. No Hicks, no Azeez Al-Shaair, no Josie Jewell. Nobody got moved at linebacker. Corners, Rasul Douglas got dealt. A pretty light deadline day. No Jaylon Johnson movement. Tar Heel Cowboy. We only make a trade if it's going to trade. Must be a good team fit. I agree. I think there were a couple of guys I would have gone after, but other teams are more aggressive than you. It's frustrating. JD from DC. This is disappointing. Oh, well. Go Cowboys. It's a good mindset to have, I think. It's a good mindset. Mark, what sucks is some good players like the Minnesota Guard and Young went for so cheap. JJ sits on his thumbs. I am speechless, Tom. I have no words. Guys, I understand the frustration. I do. I get it. CD's nuts. $1. Thanks, CD. I always love that name. It's fun. Hayden Miller. Jerry says the size of the check he'd write for a Super Bowl, and then he's the reason we aren't there. Shameless. Jerry, if the thing is, Jerry doesn't think those checks are how he's going to get there. And that's annoying to me. They would rather be at a 15% chance of making the Super Bowl for 5 years in a row than bump those odds to 20 or 25 for 3 out of the 5 years and bump it back down to 10 for the other 2. And that's what's annoying to me. They just don't want to get there. Leroy Pearson Jr. With no draft capital for his trades, I guess it's time to start looking at the draft. Look, you still have playoffs, still the season, but it'll be draft heavy in the offseason because they're not going to sign anybody. That's how it always goes. Mark, imagine Young and Parsons as your ends. The DT from NY went cheap too. He went for a second and a fifth. I don't think it's that cheap. I probably not done that one, but other ones. The Minnesota guard, I've done that in a heartbeat. I'd have loved Ezra Cleveland. I was shocked he went for that little. Very disappointed there. Darnell Grant, $20. I'm honestly starting to think we don't want to win. We just want the illusion of wanting to win. Time for a shot, buddy. They want to be a playoff team. They want to be a playoff team or in the playoff race into Week 17 every single season. And they do. They are that. Every year their quarterback's been healthy since Romo, they have been 500 at worst. That's actually really good stability. It's actually great. But it's not good enough. They don't hang banners for playoff berth, you know? Cheers to you, Darnell. Chris B. Sad that I'm happy Philly didn't do anything else. I get it. Omar, $1. Thank you. A first-time super chat from Omar, so 2 claps for Omar. There you go. SCU.JK, $2. Thank you. Mark, other than injuries, no way we win the Super Bowl. Or your team plays better than they ever have before. You've been a play away. Wouldn't you wish a player would have helped you on those plays in previous years? I get it. All right, trade deadline is over. Here's what's going to happen. First is the raffle, Halloween race for the pennant, or not the pennant, the play sheet. Let's put Thexan third in there, last second. We're going to add Thexan third in. No more entries allowed for the Halloween race, but we'll put Thexan third in as the very last one. The winner of our Halloween duck race is going to get the play sheet from our Halloween costume. There's 110 is written on there because I signed like an idiot. I don't think I can get that off, so it's just going to be a little surprise. I'll sign it too. And the winner will get a copy of the Cowboys 2017-18 playbook. So that's what the winner's going to get to here in just a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Then we will do our post-game or our post-deadline reaction. Put Kevin V in there just wow. Put Kevin V and Jimmy in there real quick too. We're gonna cut it off though. This is the last time. Kevin V and Jimmy. Then we'll do the race. Do our reaction cut. No moves. We'll break it all down, and we will do a mailbag as well. So stay tuned for all that. First up, 62 names, or entries, I should say, into the Halloween race. Winner takes home or I guess I will mail the play sheet, and I will mail or email the Cowboys playbook. Halloween themed, it's perfect. Let's race in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We're off to the races. Early leads from Luis D. Garza, Jeffrey, Apex 2.0. Here comes Lone Wolf, one of his 4 entries. You've got, looks kind of like, is that the Chupacabra or a werewolf right there? Which one is that one? Got a vampire, blue Frankenstein monster, some demon dog, aliens at the top. I don't know what to call those things. What are they? The orange, they're the green devil dogs? Who knows? Got the devil in there. Here comes Matthew. and what looks like a zombie something. A ghost from Scott. I haven't seen a ghost in this race before. Scott the Ghost in lead. 20 seconds left here. Abja Pawar's in second. Cam Boxtew in the lead. Cam Boxtew in first. Luis de Garza in second. Matthew charging back up in the lead. He's going to win. Matthew comes out on top. Cheers to you, Matthew. Please email me, tom@chatsports.com. Matthew 1 said, just because you're a good guy was his super chat. What do you think? Cheers to you, Matthew. Email me, Tom, T-O-M, @chatsports.com. That's tom@chatsports.com. I'll get you hooked up with the play sheet. I'll ship everything else. I got a bunch of to ship out this Friday, and I'll email you the playbook as well. And remember, folks, it doesn't quite work as well with this sub-read. All right, there are no more trades. Do you have a different one? You got another one? Let's go that one there, yeah. Hit that sub button there. Perfect. If you haven't already, we're going to get to our post-game cut here momentarily. I have what's in there. Let's just, let's rant for a little bit at the beginning. Hit the trades, mix in the weigh-ins, ad read, get to 10. The real ones know why. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys videos. Thexan, Kevin, and Jimmy, I see your supers. We will get to those after this cut, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you start that stream right now here, so you have it. Don't worry about the intro video, just to make your life a lot easier as opposed to a 2.5-hour cut. Fine reaction cut getting going here in just a minute, then a mailbag afterward, all here on the Cowboys Report. The 2023 NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and it went the way Jerry Jones told us it was probably going to go. No trades made by the Dallas Cowboys. A couple of noteworthy deals. We'll break down a bunch of them, but a mostly quiet trade deadline. All things considered, no Jaylon Johnson deal. Denver makes no moves. Minnesota made some minor moves. A mostly quiet deadline. Let's break down the deals that went down and how it impacts the Cowboys, who frustratingly again don't improve their team down the stretch. We'll go quick on the final deal was Rasul Douglas with a fifth and a third from Green Bay. Bills tried to get Jaylon Johnson. Dallas wasn't in the market, it seemed like, in the end. He does not get traded. The Lions got Donovan Peoples-Jones for a future fifth. Neither deal I would have made if I were the Cowboys. DPJ thought a favor. And this is the one that got people bothered, and we'll spend some time on this too. The Chase Young trade to the rival 49ers. We'll spend some time here. A 2024 comp third-round pick. It is not an actual third-rounder. It is a compensatory third-round pick given to the Niners for losing now Titans GM Rand Carthon as part of the NFL's diversity promotion period. Let's hit some of those big camps here so we can spend time on it. Chase Young goes to San Francisco, and that's frustrating. It's not a very expensive deal for San Francisco. It helps the Cowboys in the short term. It really does. You don't have to face Chase Young, or as we'll get into later, Montez Sweat. You don't have to face any of those guys now against the Commanders. They are selling. They are not very good. But it's another example of a contending team in the NFC doing everything they can, writing every check they can to make themselves a bigger and better contender. That Niners defensive line has Chase Young, Bosa, Eric Armstead, Randy Gregory, Javon Hargrave, and more, and they added Chase Young to the rotation. They might not pay Chase Young long term. This might end up only being a rental. They send a third this year, get a third or a fourth round pick comp back in the future. It's an aggressive move. It makes their team better, and it's noteworthy when the Dallas Cowboys go that route. When other teams go that route and the Cowboys don't. I know many of you on our live show were upset by it, and I get it, because the Cowboys just stand pat far too often. So should the Cowboys have made a trade today, maybe in particular any of the ones that went down today, should the Cowboys have done something today? It's the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, Y for yes, N for no. The other trade that I was actually most intrigued by, and you can just let me rant if you want to, your producer Chris, I would have done this one. Ezra Cleveland, as of filming, I assume it's going to be a 2024 sixth. I have not specified it, for a sixth. That is it. Ezra Cleveland maybe has lost his job to Dalton Reisner, another player we talked about trying to get in the past. But Cleveland goes to Jacksonville for a sixth-round pick. Now, to be fair, the Cowboys did not have a sixth-round pick this year. In fact, they have a first, a second, a third, and 2 sevenths until they get some of the comp picks back later on in the offseason. I had to move the future fifth for him. Who here feels better when Tyron Smith gets hurt again to put Tyler Smith at left tackle and plug Ezra Cleveland in at left guard? I mean, Austin Richards just isn't there yet. You're trading a day 3 pick for a low-end starting caliber piece on the offensive line, or at least a good depth piece. Why wouldn't you do that? Why? The pick could be, it could be a Josh Ball. I would have done that deal. The Jerry Jones said every team wants offensive line help. Every team does. Well, this was offensive line help that went for cheap. Why weren't you in the mix, Jerry? Why? Did you call? Or did you just let other teams wait to call you? I am disappointed. That is the big deal I would have made. Chase Young, it's not a huge need for you, but the Niners were aggressive. I get that. I'd have called on Ezra Cleveland. We talked about it on the show. I did not think he'd go for a sixth. I thought he'd go for more. Now, maybe I'm overvaluing him. Very possible. Would not be the first time. But, man, to not even go for a sixth, not of interest when every team needs O-line help. Love it for Jacksonville. Hate it for Minnesota. Hate it for Dallas. Today's show was made possible by Prize Picks. You can get a first deposit match up to $100 by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using code CLNS. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's video. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned DFS, that's daily fantasy sports platform, in North America. They are also the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's you against the numbers. You don't battle thousands of other players. The pros try to pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. My picks this week, give me Joe Burrow. More than passing yards against the shaky Bills secondary. Well, they went for Rasul Douglas, after all. The Dolphins' run defense is bad. Isaiah Pacheco, more than rushing yards. And CeeDee Lamb gets to cook against the Eagles, more than 75.5 receiving yards. Again, folks, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Next up, the Vikings, because they were kind of weird today, traded for Joshua Dobbs, a conditional 7th-round pick going to Minnesota and a 6th-round pick going to Arizona. Those of you going, well, what about a Cooper Rush trade? Probably about the value that you could have maybe gotten, and I don't think that's worth it for the Cowboys, as far as I'm concerned. So what player or players who were traded today, so no Jaylon Johnson, no Derrick Henry, no Davante Adams, what player who was moved today would you have traded for? Sound off in the comments section. The biggest trade from a draft pick perspective was Montez Sweat to the Bears because they hate having second rounders, apparently. Montez Sweat to the Commanders for a 2024 second. There's no real impact here for the Cowboys outside of the fact that those games against the Commanders have gotten easier. The Commanders, and allegedly, by the way, per some reports out there, the impetus for trading away their top 2 pass rushers and getting set to ride with James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill and KJ Henry and F.A. Abada, ownership. Ownership said sell. I don't think Ron Rivera and company wanted to sell. But Josh Harris, who also, by the way, traded away James Harden this morning or last night, whatever it was, for his Sixers, said to sell. The Commanders are not contenders. Those games, don't sleep on them. It's a rivalry game. Those games will not be as tough for you. The pass rush is not going to be nearly as good, so it helps. But you wanted to have some more success if you're with the Cowboys doing deals. So helps Dallas, I guess, but didn't help the Cowboys in terms of the actual moves. If you are looking for Cowboys news, you come to the right spot. Tomorrow, we will have free agent targets for the Cowboys and a preview against the Eagles, plus whatever injury news we get on Wednesday. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys videos. Let's talk Eagles then. This is kind of dating back a few days previously, but I'm going to allow it. They made 2 trades, one of which was the very popular for the past 2 months, day 3 pick swap. Eagles get a 6th in exchange for Kentavious Streets and a 7th round pick. It's nothing. It's not a big deal. It's fine. We'll get to the other Eagles trade here real quick, actually, before we get to the next part there. I highlighted 2 over there. Producer Chris, my bad. The big one was the Kevin Byard trade. A 5th, a 6th, and Terrell Edmonds. It's very light. It's very little. Not much involved from that perspective. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys right now? That was a great trade for Philly, by the way, but we talked about that one previously. Scale from 1 to 10. The top teams in the NFC right now, your contenders, your obvious contenders are the Eagles, the Niners, the Lions, Seattle, and Dallas. Those first 4 teams we named all made a trade at or around the deadline. Dallas did not. Scale your confidence level 1 to 10 in the comments. Here was the Seattle trade. I don't love that one, by the way. I think a 2nd is a lot for Leonard Williams. He's a good player, but they ate a bunch of money, which kind of drove up the cost, which maybe was just like cost shouldn't have been that high in the first place, but I digress. A 2nd and a 5th for the Giants, as they also sold with Seattle getting Leonard Williams. So clear-cut NFC East favorites, Dallas or Philadelphia. Giants and Commanders, clear as day, sold this year in Dallas. All right, some quick super chats here. We actually got to this one earlier. The last one was Texan the Third. The last one we have not gotten to here. And I kind of want to save these for the mailbag too. So let's get set up to the mailbag for the hashtag Cowboys weigh-in. And then Thexan, Kevin, Jimmy, Jesus, and Alex. We will all get to those supers as part of our mailbag. Oh, shit. No, you did it before. What's the most recent super that you have in there? We should have newer ones though. Do we have Jesus in there? Jimmy? Kevin? And then Texan. You don't have Texan in there. Okay, I'll shout out Texan then real quick here. It says, Cardiac Cowboys is what we are. No YOLO from Jerry. Just sitting back and enjoy watching the boys play some ball. So we'll start with Kevin then in the mailbag. Maybe Texans came in right as you were start starting. When we start the stream for like cutting stuff up afterwards, it occasionally eats a super chat. Just to keep that one in mind. So, mailbag time. 2 ways to get on the show. You can either A, super chat, like Kevin and Jimmy and Jesus and Alex all did, or just use hashtag Cowboys. It is that simple. Now, you have to use hashtag Cowboys because otherwise there's no way to bring it up on screen. It gets lost when there's, 2,000 people watching live. It all disappears and there's too many comments and it's asking for chaos in the end. So don't expect that if you're not using hashtag Cowboys, but get them in otherwise. Again, hashtag Cowboys or Super Chat here on today's show. It's a mailbag right after the 2023 NFL trade deadline comes and goes. From Kevin, first up, I know it's early. What about Oklahoma middle linebacker Danny Stutzman in the second round around our middle linebacker core? I think he's kind of cooled off a little bit. Had a great game against Tulsa. I thought he played well against Texas for the most part. Was kind of not that great against Kansas, I thought. I don't think he's a second-round player. He might not go pro either. There's some good size there. Haven't fully studied him yet. I think second is a bit early. Also, with the way Marquise Bell is playing, and I think Damone Clark is coming along, and you're going to get DeMarvin Overshown back, do you need a second-round linebacker? I'm not so sure. Jimmy Productions. I don't think rather than the Eagles and Niners, no trade would have helped. You need to avoid the Niners to the NFC Championship game, and anything can happen. Maybe that's Jerry's mindset. Maybe Jerry said he doesn't think they're as good as the 49ers. They're not on the same field yet. And he made no trades. Kind of a weird dichotomy to hold there. Jesus Duran. I just want a Super Bowl as an adult. Oh, well. You're awesome, Tom. I mean, isn't that what we all want? We all want a damn Super Bowl. That's why we're all here, right? Every single one of us is here watching because we are Cowboys fans or we're an Eagles fan with no damn life, and we just won a Cowboys championship. I get it. If that is you, if you're just like Jesus, then subscribe, because that's all I want. We may disagree on the best path to get there, and that's okay, as long as we're not mean to each other, over the top at least. We just want a championship. So if that's you, if you're a diehard Cowboys fan, you come to the right spot. Hit that sub button right now. Alex Vasquez, 90. Not surprised. Jerry shit the bed again. Downey for GM. I would have made the Ezra Cleveland trade. I don't think Adams and Johnson or Henry were available, but the Ezra one is the one I would have moved after if I were the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you, Alex. Draco DZN, or Dazin, whatever the proper pronunciation is there. Seriously, F. Jerry Jones, old blind man, rich. I'm not sure I can see the next one without getting flagged on YouTube. I'm so over that we like our guys BS. I don't know what he sees. The Eagles stay making moves. Pathetic. You have been close. You have been very close 2 years in a row now. And you're one move away, one play away, and you won't make the move at the deadline each year. Hagen's helped you. A 6th-round pick. You're not as aggressive as the top teams. You're a good team. You're even a very good team. You're like the 3rd best team in the NFC. And it puts you in the same spot every year. NJ Fresh, with the Cowboys making no moves, what is our record to end the season? I still think you're going to be around a 10 to 12 win football team. You have some tough games, though. You got to play the Eagles twice. You have the Seahawks once. You have the Bills and Dolphins still. It's a tough schedule. Now, after this Eagles game, it does settle in. By the way, as I pull up the Cowboys schedule here right now, especially if the Cowboys win, I am putting them on the Broncos, letdown game against the Giants the week after, and against the Panthers as well. Those are 2 prime letdown Texans-esque games. So you get past the Eagles, it's Giants, Panthers, Commanders. If you beat Philadelphia, your expectation is going to be 9-2 there, and that might be a playoff spot already. So you should be a strong playoff team. You should win 11 games, 12 games. Got to win this next one though. So what do you think will be the Cowboys' record in 2023? It's the pinned comment on today's video. Go vote right now. Dwayne Jackson. Will Jerry Jones ever have a come-to-Jesus moment? The past 28 years and counting, his way is not working. If it hasn't happened now, why would it? Been this way for a while. He wants to do it his way, you know? They want to be a playoff team each year, and they achieve that goal. But you don't hang a banner for being a playoff team. And it's been that way for 28 years. Daniel, I think overall we did what we need to do because we have to pay Micah and Lamb and Dak and Curse soon. Plus, you couldn't add anyone to the lack of draft capital and cap room. You had cap space. You were light on draft capital. That's a very fair argument. But you had a 1, you had a 2, you had a 3. You had 7s. You had future picks as well. If you wanted to, you could have. I also don't know if they're going to pay Curse, by the way, or Pollard. Maybe Marquise Bell takes your Jaylon Curse role. But my flip side here is the Niners have to pay Brandon Ayuk. They're going to have that Nick Bosa deal with the pay come up the pipeline. Fred Warner's due for a newish deal soon. They've got a bunch of guys they actually have to pay soon. Eagles do as well, but they are more aggressive and creative from that perspective. Today's show made possible by Prize Picks. If you don't know what they are, I guess you haven't been paying attention very much. They've been a huge sponsor here at the Cowboys Report. We thank them for that. They are the largest independently owned DFS platform in North America. They are also the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, the pros, the sharks, the sharps, etc., you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You can go flex play, which is 2 of 3, 3 of 4, whatever, or the power play, all or nothing. I have been hot on the flex play. Here are my picks this week. Joe Burrow, more than passing yards. It's a rough Bills secondary. Isaiah Pacheco, more than rushing yards. It's a bad Dolphins run defense. And more than Sedarian Lamb receiving yards because the Eagles secondary is not that great. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. That's a first deposit match up to $100 when you use promo code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. With first deposit match up to $100. All right, Samuel, a super chat. It's about more than money. Jerry has all the money in the world. It's about the power and the ego. He knows nobody can stop him. It's what drives him. He's given some power to Stephen Jones, by the way. And Will McClay's heavily involved there as well. But their philosophy is draft picks. Their philosophy is we want to get to the playoffs, be a contender into Week 17 every year, which they have been every year their quarterback's been healthy since Romo came along. Every year, they've been in the mix. And see if they get lucky. And so far, Dez caught it. Well, ref said no. You lost a couple close, painful games against 49ers. You had a muff kick in one of them. Been a lot of pain. The Marco Murray fumble. Some bad luck your way. Maybe if you try to create your own luck, better things would happen. From Jonathan, with how the NFC looks after trades, how far do you see us going to the playoffs realistically? Until I see otherwise, I can't put this team above the 49ers. So where do you run into them? That defines how far you go. Until they beat their boogeyman in San Francisco, I don't have faith in it. And if the offense stays hot through the air, you can beat Philly. You've had some success there. So will the Cowboys continue the NFC East curse and take down the Eagles? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote in the comments section. Not Jeremy Chugs' burner. I can't wait for the report in a few days. We were allegedly in talks for insert player here. No. You're not going to get that because Jerry said they weren't going to trade. It was, well, we made trades for Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore last year. And, hey, we're getting Leighton Vander Esch back in a few weeks. That's just like a trade deadline deal. That's what they'll say. They'll point to LVE, Cooks, and Gilmore. That's what they'll say is, oh, we made trades. We got LVE coming back. That's what they're going to say. Zaire Brown, a trade for Davante put us in the NFC Championship game. Tell me when I'm lying. The issue is the Raiders weren't going to trade him. I think the only way the Raiders traded away Davante is if he walked up to Mark Davis and said, your haircut is an embarrassment. Trade me, and I'm never playing again for you if you don't. That's the only way it would have happened, and that's not how Davante is. That's not how he's wired, you know? He's not the biggest diva. He's mad. He should be mad. He should have demanded a trade. Didn't happen. I would not be surprised if in the offseason a deal potentially comes together at that point. Charles, I know the deadline's in the past, but can we trade Jerry? Hey, my offer stands. 10 years as owner, and I guarantee a title, or I will sell the team. That's it. That's all I ask for, 10 years. I will profit the selling profits, but that's my reward for becoming owner. All right, score prediction time, because NFL would not let me do the show, I don't think. I think they'd let that happen. Pick the score of Cowboys versus Eagles. It's a big match this week. We'll have a preview for you guys, 2 of them on the channel. Make sure you're subbed. But before we get to our final question, pick the score for me of the Cowboys against the Eagles in NFL Week 9, a massive must-watch NFC East matchup with massive amounts of playoff and NFC and rivalry and all that good stuff available online, I should say, in this one. Score predictions for the Cowboys against the Eagles. Get them in the comments section right now. All right, we'll sign off here. End today's live show. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. More videos tomorrow. Appreciate that, guys. It's a fun day. If you haven't already, please subscribe as well. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Free videos every single day. We'll have 2 videos tomorrow. Back live again on Thursday.